Hello, hello. We're back for another fantastic week of Launch Coast football. I'm Daniel,
And I'm Chelsea.
and with us again is one Matthew Johnson, resident Giants fan, who decided he had to
And
hop in.
Daniel's brother.
Yes, and my brother. He had to hop in just for something special happened after the Sunday slate of games going to Monday. Matthew, yeah, looks like you're in the market for a new coach.
Yes, and it feels like I'm kind of calling WFAN, like, hey, this is Matthew from Newer Show. And I know Matt Daniel knows I've not been a big fan of Brian Daboll, so I'm looking forward to a new coach, but there is like a human element, so I do feel bad. You don't want to see someone lose their job, but like this has been a change long coming that like I've felt needed to happen for a long time.
I would say I just love the old me. It's funny because you say you weren't a fan, but he got you to, I guess, the furthest point the Giants gotten since maybe Coughlin
Super
and
Bowl.
stuff. He got him
Yeah.
to a playoff win. He was for a year the greatest fat man in New York State since Biggie.
I mean, I Poor mean, Brian. I can't take away from like that first season with the when they beat the Vikings in the playoffs and kind of put to bed the not the banana boat the boat playoff curse, and like that was the first playoff win since Super Bowl 46. So I mean he had a lot of good memories, but there was just a lot of things that I just wasn't a huge fan of with Daboll. And I know it's easy now to say that, but Dale knows in my group chat was exploding yesterday. And I mean, as someone who had planted the flag into Daniel Jones and seeing him being so happy, I'm happy that he's succeeding. And it's just, I mean, and for him there was just multiple ways that like I feel like Dable needed to leave, both on the field and off the field, in my opinion.
No, I was happier that Deion Jones is doing well than Chelsea right now.
That's probably true. I am probably happier than both of you, and that's saying something considering one of you is a Giants fan.
It's just like constant. I love just so many fourth quarter collapses this year. And everyone thought he was going to get fired last year after the season. He came back. You figured him and the GM were going to come back. Dart looked good, and then just injuries. You lose Malik Neighbors, you lose Cam Scatterboo. You can't seem to close out a game. But the thing is, it looks like they have a quarterback. He needs to stop getting concussed, which is a big thing. But you have, it seems like, somewhat of a foundation. So.
I mean, I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna be too long because I could go on for a while about my problems with Dable. And I mean, I know. I mean, there are just multiple things. I never. I mean, yes, Dart is the quarterback of the future. He seems to be the quarterback of the future, but I just wasn't a huge fan of him. Kind of, it felt like he was kind of running him into the ground a little bit. Because even with Daniel Jones, when Daniel Jones was coming back off of major injury, I believe it was his neck injury. Like in his first game back, he was running Daniel Jones a lot. And just, I mean, with the collapses in the fourth quarter, to some issues he's had with like his coordinators, with like Wink Martindale, who I thought was a good coordinator, but they kind of had like a power struggle. And at one point, even in with Mike Kafka, who's now interim head coach, and I know at one point the GM Joe Shane had to actually like they reportedly had to actually be in and listening in on the headphones on game day just because Dable has had like a bunch of issues. So from on the field to off the field to even this season when he's going into the 10th, I don't see a lot of successful coaches like kind of losing their composure like that just because your quarterback's in the concussion protocol for like a play or two. So I mean, again, I really hope the best for him, and I maybe he'll find another opportunity. Just to, like I've been long ready for this day.
Let
Is
me
that
just say, in defense of Brian Daboll, it's not like he could help that his best players got hurt.
No,
So
no, that's
that
true.
was a big contributing factor, I think, especially how he was trying to control the offense and the defense. When you don't have your best players, you obviously have to be more creative. He wasn't being more creative. So that's on him, obviously. But I mean, he couldn't, make Malik Neighbors heal in a day. I'm sure if he could, he
Oh yeah,
would.
of
But I
course. Yeah,
mean, Jackson Dart was doing pretty crazy things even without him, which I think speaks to Jackson Dart's talent that he has.
and
And I mean, even
Scabo?
after Cam Scatabo went down, I mean, he was still doing things. So I mean, I think that's a testament to the fact that you guys probably have found your franchise quarterback, which I know is a long time coming for Giants fans post Eli Manning, because I know a lot of people were never fully plugged in and bought in on Daniel Jones. But I was thoroughly unsurprised when this news dropped. I actually keep up with the Giants a decent amount. I too listen to WFAN like you, and I listen to all of the angry New Yorkers yell about the Giants. But yeah, no, it was definitely interesting. I hope Shane goes too. I don't think you can fire one and not the other. They need to get rid of them both and bring them in. But we'll see what happens, I guess. I feel like it would be very Giants to only get rid of one and keep the other half when you should just
Yeah.
get rid of both. So,
I'm personally, I'm actually, I guess maybe again being like the outlier Giant fan who really liked Daniel Jones, and I thought he could have been successful here. If they remove Shane, I'm okay with that. But I feel I've had more issues of Dable than Shane, in my opinion. I mean, Shane has made some, it has had some issues, but I feel like I feel it feels like he's hit on the quarterback. He hit on neighbors. He even hit later in the draft, like with Scatterboo, who what like later in the draft. So I mean, I feel like there are pieces there. I mean, you have neighbors, you have a healthy neighbors, you have a healthy Scatterboo, you have the quarterback, you have Andrew Thomas when he's healthy, you have Abdul Carter, you have Brian Burns, who Shane made that Brian Burns trade. So I feel like there are pieces there, but again, I agree with your point, Chelsea, that maybe it would just be at the best at this point, just kind of have a fresh start and get rid of everyone and start over.
yeah, I think Shane's definitely done more to justify keeping his job than Dable has. Dable's probably just had too long of a leash at this point. Shane has definitely done some good things. But just kind of the nature of the league. I feel like if you look historically at when one or the other has been fired, just across the league, usually hasn't gone well. I feel like if the Giants want to start fresh at head coach, they probably do need to get rid of Shane. But I don't necessarily think Shane is like he's done all these horrible things and deserves it. Because, like you said, he's definitely done some good things. But I mean, I guess we'll see. It was like Black Monday before Black Monday, I guess.
Well, if
Yeah.
well, if the Dolphins are in kind of testament, like you can fire a GM and have an upset victory, so expect a Giants victory this coming Sunday.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
that's
don't
the
know about
spirit.
well, we're not going to keep you forever. So yeah, thanks for hopping on. Hopefully the Giants get a decent future head coach. Who knows? Maybe an old defensive coordinator from the past, possibly. But again, thanks for hopping on, and we'll
I
keep
was
in
say, I mean,
touch.
I was, oh, thank you, Dan. I was saying maybe Steve Spagnuolo is walking through that door. Hint, Bill
Possibly.
Belichick. Well, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, peace.
Thanks.
Oh God, I'm so happy that guy got off here. I can't stand that guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop. No,
No,
he's cool. He definitely is passionate about his Giants, which I respect.
no, I'm just happy. Like, yeah, the group, yeah, in our group chat, he's a lot more animated. And I know he wanted to be a little more animated, but he kept it clean. He's not dirty. I'll take that, but he's not dirty. But yeah, he would go on a long rant about the past 4 years. But
Well, brother like brother, as you've gone on rants about the Steelers, which by the way, how does that happen? How do you end up a Steelers fan and your brothers end up fans of New York teams? How does that happen?
that's what happens when you have two brothers who, well, technically all of us were born in New York, but one of them was in New York a little longer. The other one was just being a troll, because my eldest became a Jets fan, and Matthew to be somewhat of a troll. Like, I'm gonna be the opposite of a Jets fan. I'm gonna be a Giants fan, and
Daniel's like, well, guess what?
I'm going. It's so funny. He always thanks my other brother Aaron. He's just like, thank you for becoming a Jets fan, because if you became a Giants fan, I would be a Jets fan. I couldn't handle that.
Bro.
I was just like, I'm a Steelers fan. I don't have to worry about any of this stuff.
You're like, I'm historically good.
Yeah.
See you guys.
No, but going back to what we were talking about before with the Miami Dolphins firing Chris Greer, keeping Mike McDaniels, and somehow having the biggest upset of maybe this season, maybe the Browns Packers from earlier this year, but this is honestly one of the biggest upsets. It wasn't the fact that they won, the fact that the Dolphins kind of put boot to rear end to the Buffalo Bills is starting to it's Buffalo we knew Buffalo was a flawed team from week one, because Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson just ran up and down the field on them and Derrick Henry in that crazy crazy comeback victory. So we knew this wasn't the best defense. But Devon and Chan looked like, well, I was gonna say he looked like the best running back in the league, but he didn't. There was no one who played a little better.
Yeah, he still
But
had an extremely good day,
he had an
though. I
amazing
mean,
game.
he's had a great year.
Yeah, Tua had a solid game. It is Buffalo really at this moment to me. I think they even said that after the game. This isn't a Super Bowl contending team. If you're giving up so many, if you're giving so much points to I'm not gonna say a bottom feeder. I don't think Miami's a bottom feeder, but you put a lesser team in the NFL. And if your entire game plan is Josh Allen or James Cook, you literally have to save us every week. That's not going to work if you have to go against. I know they just beat Kansas City a couple weeks last week, but Kansas City in the January, if you have to go against a revived Ravens team, it looks like you got to go against even the Chargers at this point. Like maybe this was just a letdown week. You just played Kansas City, you had a big overhyped game, and you had a bit of a letdown. But yeah, it wasn't. I didn't expect. No one expected a victory, let alone a blowout.
So I don't think this was one of the games we highlighted last week, but if I remember correctly, I think it was either last week or the week before where I kind of went on a tangent and started talking about how the Buffalo Bills don't have a true wide receiver one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say that this game was probably a prime example of that.
that's
Their top
fair.
receiver had 58 yards. In fairness, Keon Coleman did have a touchdown, which is a good sign if you're a Bills fan. But like I've said, Shakir and Coleman and Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore, that is not a particularly dating wide receiver corp, especially for a team that's trying to compete for a Super Bowl. I was very surprised that they did not, they were not, well, I'm not surprised Buffalo didn't trade Waddle to them because it's
Yeah,
inside your own division.
yeah, that ain't
However, I am
happening.
surprised they didn't go after someone else.
Yeah,
At least not that I've seen that it's come out that they tried to trade for anyone else, but I feel like this is probably their biggest need on their team is a true dominant, at least more dominant than Shakir type of receiver. I was very surprised that they didn't try to trade for someone else.
I have to imagine they had to be going after at least some of the Saints. Like they traded
Like
Shaheed
Chris
or
Olave,
Olave.
like
They had to because that's the biggest problem. And this goes back to one major play in the game, which is actually an amazing Josh Allen play where he's just scrambling around the pocket, around the field. It's like on third and long. He's scrambling around for a good 10, 15 seconds looking for a receiver. And someone finally broke open. But again, it's after like 10 to 15 seconds.
which is an
The
extraordinarily long time.
Yeah, like he's just like he has to buy time for his team because they can't create the separations. And he can do that against again Miami, but when you go against a top team like Kansas City or not Jacksonville, Lord, not Jacksonville, or Indianapolis, or even a team that we're about to talk about, the Denver Broncos, you're not really going to be able to do that in January if your receivers can't get separation, which is a perfect way to go into our next topic. Chelsea, the Broncos won, but you're not exactly that happy about that. Or at least you're happy about it, but you're a little asterisk next to them.
Yeah, so the Broncos won 10-7 against the Raiders.
And the worst game of the season.
Yes, though not as bad as the Colts Broncos game, I believe is in 2022 on Thursday night. That one was even worse. All this to say, NFL, if you're listening to this, please stop scheduling the Broncos on Thursdays. For some reason, they just forget how to play. So I wrote down when I was reviewing these games that the Broncos may be fraudulent. Now, before you fry me, I put at least on offense. I think their defense is very good.
Yes.
Their defense is probably top five in football. And if you look at PFF statistics and grades, Pat Surtain is not even having a good year, and they are still one of the best defenses in football. So when Pat Surtain puts it together, hopefully when the playoffs come around, they're going to be very hard to score on. Their defense is amazing. However, their offense leaves some to be desired. I personally am of the opinion that Bo Nix is a good quarterback. I don't think he's bad. I think he's
Yeah.
inconsistent. He is kind of having, not to the degree of CJ Stroud sophomore slump, but he is having a sophomore slump this year. He is
Yes.
just not very consistent. When he's on, he's on. Look at what he did against the Giants in the fourth quarter. I mean, he took over the game and they scored what? It was like 28 points in the fourth quarter or something. So when he's on and he's playing great, he's amazing. It's just he's not consistent. And to get deep into the playoffs, you can't have that. If he has a game in the playoffs like he had against the Raiders, they're not going anywhere, no matter how good their defense is. And I think a lot of his inconsistency kind of plays into his playmakers' consistency. When Cortland Sutton has a good game, Cortland Sutton has like 80 yards and a touchdown. When Cortland Sutton has a bad game, he has like 3 targets for 24 yards. That's what happened this past week. I only know that because I have him in fantasy. I don't think Cortland Sutton is a bad wide receiver. I think that he is probably a fringe one. I don't think he's a dominant wide receiver one, but I think he's better than, other ones on other teams. I think Buffalo would kill to have him. He'd probably be amazing on Buffalo, better
Oh yeah.
than he is with the Broncos. But so, a lot of the consistency from their playmakers hinges on Bo Nix. If Bo Nix can be consistent and get hot going into the playoffs, they're going to be tough to beat, especially if they're playing at home. However, if you get the Bo Nix who throws 2 interceptions and loses a fumble and has 55% completion percentage, they're going to be a problem for themselves, not for an opponent. And to make things worse, I believe J.K. Dobbins suffered an injury this weekend, which, if you know anything about J.K. Dobbins, he has had a
Yeah.
laundry list of
Unfortunate.
injury issues, which is a real shame because he's actually very, very talented. They do have RJ Harvey, their rookie, who has had a decent season thus far. But if they lose J.K. Dobbins for any amount of time, that puts even more pressure on a Bo Nix, who's already inconsistent. So I have worries about the Broncos. I think that their record is a little bit deceiving. I know they've won a lot of games at the end of the game, but again, they've only had to do that because Bo Nix comes out and is awful in the first half, and they have to score 3 touchdowns in the second half to come back and win. So before I really believe in this Broncos team, I need to see some real consistency from Bo Nix, or I really don't think they're going to get that far, even with superior defense.
Well, going back to you talk about the injury, like Dobbins is really maybe going back a little old school, the Willis McGahee, which this guy's so good, but he can't stay healthy. They're able to survive the Satan injury right now because he's on IR at the moment. That defense is, yeah, they I believe they lead the league in sacks. They know how
Yeah,
to get the
and
passer.
Pat
They're top
Surtain,
defense.
Pat Surtain, even when he was playing, if you look at his PFF stats, he really wasn't playing that well, even when he was playing. So
No.
hopefully when he comes back from his injury, he picks it up. But
This is just honestly, I will kind of hit back on the point that Bo Nix is a good. He reminds me in a better version of Tebow Mania, where he can't like he's so bad the first 3.5 quarters, and then explodes in the fourth quarter, and you're like, they won again. This is ridiculous. They are right now I believe the number one team in the AFC. They're 7-2 at best right
no,
now.
the best
No,
records are 8-2. They're still
I believe
leading their
that.
division, I believe, but
Yeah.
they're not one of the best records. Or if they
Okay.
are, statistically, they have the tiebreaker. They lose that to us. So they're not better than we are because we're 8-2. But they're still up there with one of the best
Yeah, they're
records.
gonna be there. They're gonna be a top. If all things considered, it's still gonna be a top seed. They're probably gonna be a playoff team, and no, I don't trust them in the playoffs. But man, it's just crazy because the AFC like West is just insane. It's a gauntlet because I feel like
The
all
AFC is weird this year.
and one team that is definitely weird is the Jacksonville Jaguars because they just got their clock run by David Mills. Yeah, who had the David Mills?
Davis Mills, yeah.
The Davis Mills, David. You know what? No, fine. Davis Mills. You just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, so you get you have the privilege of me remember your name.
Woohoo!
But
Special treatment.
I don't like. I know you're a Colts fan, and you always worry about Jacksonville because they always beat you in terms of like one stupid game, one or two stupid games a year. I guess the same thing with me with the Bengals games that happened a few weeks ago. Jacksonville is just a bad team to me. They I can't consider them a good team at this point. They just don't they can't. What's going on with them? You know again. I'll let you take the lead on this. I have no idea what the heck to expect from the Jaguars. They went from a team that was going to a playoffs, wild card, one of the better wild card teams, to now this team is just like they're like what's just going on with them? They just like seem like they can't win easy games.
So I will say, outside of this week, their defense has been very good. Statistically speaking, they have been pretty good. I don't think they're like top five, but I think they're top 10. They have a pretty good defense. They have some guys who are emerging on defense. So that is probably the best part of their team. I am not going to absolve Trevor of blame because I don't think that's fair. However, I'm going to say I think a big reason that Trevor struggles to put up numbers is because of Brian Thomas and his apparent ineptitude. What has happened to him? Like, he was amazing in college. They took him. He started out really strong. I
He was
know he
amazing his
missed
rookie year.
yesterday.
His
I know
rookie
he
year
missed
was
yesterday because
awesome.
he was hurt. I don't think he played yesterday. But like, he has fallen off a cliff. I mean, you want to talk about a bona fide wide receiver one when he plays the way he's supposed to play? That's what Brian Thomas is. Like, that's what the Bills need. However, for some reason, he either must just be hurt or something's got to be going on because that dude is doing Trevor no favors. When he plays, he drops balls. When he doesn't play, the offense is limited in terms of the pass game. I think that he is probably a pretty big factor contributing to Jacksonville's offensive ineptitude. Let's just put it that way. Their offensive line is not great, but it's not the worst. And, Trevor is just not living up to where he was picked in the draft. I do not think that Trevor is a bad quarterback. I think that Trevor is an above average quarterback. I think Trevor is stuck on a bad team and a bad culture with a wide receiver one who can't do anything. Now, that is not to say that Trevor does not still make mistakes because Trevor gave away the ball at the end of the game yesterday and it got returned for a pick six. It like fumbled out of his hands and got returned. He threw a pretty bad interception yesterday. Usually for Trevor, about half of the turnovers are his fault. The other half is due to his receivers not being able to catch anything. Like if you watch a Jacksonville game, they have like 5 drops a game. That is not Trevor's fault. Tips and overthrows are on him. But if a guy doesn't run the right route and he puts it where it's supposed to be and that guy's not there, that's not his fault. If it gets tipped and because the guy can't catch it, that's not Trevor's fault. However, Trevor does also throw some very bad interceptions and he has a fumbling problem. So Trevor probably got overpaid. He's probably not worth what he got paid, but that's the reality of the NFL
Yeah.
nowadays. I really think it's mostly their offense. I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what Travis Etienne has been doing. I haven't been keeping up with him statistically, but they have a good running back. I mean, their tight end is hurt. That was a pretty big loss for him. He's been on the IR. He was one of Trevor's favorite targets, so that was a big loss. So maybe when they get him back, that will kind of improve their offense. But I honestly think one of their biggest problems is Brian Thomas because he's supposed to absolve the best corner. You know what I mean? Like he's supposed to free up the rest of the room. He's supposed to free up Travis Etienne to go out and do great things. And because he is just not playing the way that he is supposed to, I really think that's hurting Trevor and leading Trevor to make bad decisions, et cetera, et cetera. Jacksonville still scares me. Jacksonville could be 0-16. They will still scare me. That's just
Oh
the
my
reality of
goodness.
being a Colts fan.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you look at them on paper when they're not playing us, I really don't think they're a good team. I
One
think
could,
their defense is good, and I don't think Trevor is bad. I think Trevor is above average, and I like ETN, but the rest of their offense leaves a lot to be desired, especially Thomas.
one could say they are a paper jaguar. Um,
Ha ha.
but no, Trevor's just in a bad position that he came in with so much hype, like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning levels of hype,
He was
and
supposed to be a generational
and he
quarterback prospect.
and he just hasn't. He's had his moments, but he haven't lived up to it. But one quarterback who had less hype, but was also drafted very high, who's lived up to it, is Drake May with the New England Patriots. And I gotta say this, one of my games last week was I wanted to see how the Patriots did against an elite NFL team. The Bucks were coming off, even though they're somewhat injured. They're coming off a bye week, so they'll be rested. There'll be an extra week to game plan. The Patriots kind of handled business easily in the game. I know the score is closer than what the game actually showed. I watched a lot of the game, and the Patriots controlled most of the game. Drake May looked good. The running game of Henderson, he went crazy. That was again. If it wasn't for another running back, he would probably be one of the running backs of the week. But um,
We'll
no,
get to that.
yeah, don't worry. Oh, trust me, coach Chelsea coach fan ain't gonna let what happened in Europe go past us. But no, the I don't want the Patriots to be back, but the Patriots, I gotta say at this point, they're back.
I don't want the Patriots to be back either, dude. We're in the same boat. I feel like we're in 2010 again.
Please don't put me back in 2000. Actually, no, I had a good quarterback then. Put me back in 2010.
Put me
Uh,
back in 2010. That's fine.
but no, that was just like I was watching a game and I was just like, man, the Patriots are really back. Like Vrabel did it. Drake May
In a season,
looks like one of the three
not
best
even a
quarterbacks in the
whole
NFL.
season. Wow.
It's just amazing. They got a couple good receivers. They got some talent. They got a great coach. May's taking a big leap forward, even though he has a bit of the Jackson Dart syndrome of just like you gotta slide, you gotta get down, stop taking these big hits. Like, no, stop doing that. But no, they handled the Tampa Bay pretty well, which if from Tampa Bay's perspective, all I'm thinking is they need to get Bucky Irvin back.
Yeah.
They need
They
to get
need
Buck
Chris Godwin back too.
yeah, and Evans, who knows when he comes back after his major injury, but no,
Broken
just
collarbone.
yeah, the Patriots just look really dominant, and speaking of teams that you don't want to be back, um, great, the Ravens are back. Make Chelsea, I just like this is ridiculous. I thought they were
Okay,
they
I
were
have a
they were
question.
dead. I thought they were
You know,
dead.
you know how we talked about a couple weeks ago how the Chiefs weren't bad, they were just in hibernation? Do we think that that is what happened to the Ravens as well? Or do you think it's a little bit different of a situation?
I think the Ravens were just like they. I think the defense did the hibernation. I think overall, I think they were just Lamar. Can you come back, please? It was just honestly just like Lamar Jackson was injured, and it's like, oh great, this is okay. Let's just try to stay afloat.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're back, but it might be too late. They have a hole to climb out of, and if I believe they don't have a super easy schedule the second half of the year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to them. Wouldn't surprise me though if they snuck in as a 7 seed and made it to the AFC Championship somehow.
It wouldn't surprise me if they win the division because they still have two games to play against Pittsburgh. They haven't played each other
Ooh,
yet.
man, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they don't play each other till like December. They got like the last games are going to be like the last month of the season. So as long as they stay afloat, then yeah, and
You
that's
sir
good.
just so happy, I can tell.
As long as they stay afloat, and as long as my team keep doing what they did Sunday night, this want to be good because yeah, I'm not gonna go that hard into Pittsburgh, mostly because of the fact that I'm tired because I stay up all night to watch that game, and because the defense did its job. San Diego.
They
Wow.
had like 5 sacks too.
The Chargers scored two touchdowns. One was on just a bad throw from Rodgers. One was one was just on a bad turn from Rodgers late in the game, and not late in the game, and late in the first half. And the other one was on a fourth when they were trying to go for fourth down. They tried in late early in the fourth quarter, and then Larry McConkey had a one big breakaway catch and run. So they played a good game defensively, in my opinion. What really killed them was just the fact that this was the worst offensive game I saw from this year. That's I give credit to I keep wanting to say San Diego again. I give credit to the Chargers. Everyone thought that they were done for, and honestly, did offensively they looked kind of not done for, but offensively they were like Herbert had protection problems. They couldn't really run the football until late in the fourth quarter once the Steelers defense got tired from all the three and outs from Rodgers in the offense. But yeah, the Chargers, if that defense can keep up pace, that's gonna be insane. And for Steelers, this is just really bad to see the offense play this bad. Maybe this is another letdown game after the big win against Indianapolis, but that's not good when you have the Ravens nipping at your heels at this point.
Yeah, not a good look for the Steelers.
One team that is
Everyone is saying that Rodgers is washed. All the Instagram comments, Rodgers is washed. I'm like, one game.
It was the first game I saw him though that he looked like he did not want to get hit. He
Yeah.
was doing everything again not to get hit. And we know he may look washed, but one person that doesn't look washed is Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. And
They're for real.
I
They
didn't
are
have him
really good.
I didn't have him in the
Didn't have
playoffs.
that on my bingo card.
No, because everyone thought Sam Darnold was well, no one had Jackson Smith and Jimgo become the best receiver in football. No one had Darnold repeating what he did last year with Minnesota. And I'm not sure how many people had it. Well, I've heard news people said the defense was going to be good. The defense was amazing. Um,
No,
So
they're for real. I was doing something yesterday and I looked back and they had scored 38 points in a quarter and a half. And I know two of it was because of DeMarcus Lawrence fumble recoveries for touchdowns. But still, I was like, holy cow, that's crazy.
I also kind of like not I don't like this, but the fact that there's so much hype of just like Jalen of Jacoby Brissett. He's the best quarterback in Arizona. Jacoby Brissett is a superstar, like, guys. He beat a bad Dallas defense. He's going against a really good defense now. Let's calm down here. I like Jacoby Brissett, but he's a career backup. He's been in the league for over a decade at this point. He's good, but if you're going to a game thinking Jacoby Brissett's going to win us this football game, you ain't going to win the football game.
That's probably true, as someone who had him start for us multiple years.
Yeah, like no, if I would want him as a backup, and that's
He's a
perfect.
above average backup for sure.
And that's what we all said about Daniel Jones. And but no, I'll say this: Daniel Jones was not the star in Europe. It was one Jonathan Taylor, and I feel so happy for Chelsea, but I also feel bad for Chelsea because as good as Jonathan Taylor is and how crazy of a game he has, you know who the MVP is. You know it's not going to be Jonathan Taylor.
I
But
know, it's the
what
same thing Eagles fans felt last year with Saquon.
what Stafford's doing right now is insane.
Insane.
And what Jonathan Taylor is doing right now is insane. It's just, it's. I root for running backs to win the MVP because I want to see a non-quarterback win it. But I'm
We
sorry.
all do.
But Stafford, he hasn't thrown an interception since what, like week two?
He
Like,
has had 13 or 14 touchdowns in 3 games. He went 4 or 5 4 4, I think. Holy cow.
and it's not even like he's doing it because of Puka, because Puka would have missed a week, and that's the week he had probably his best game.
Yeah.
And
He's been
like,
insane.
and then like the Ram, and like so he's just that Rams team. I think. Well, we just had Matthew on. He had the Rams and Eagles as the two best teams in the NFC before the season, and it looks like at least with the Eagles, even their struggles, I'll still pick them over probably most of the rest of the NFC. So he was correct in that way. And Stafford, you know what? You said your back was hurting. You said my back had spasms. My back was
Apparently,
something.
it's from carrying the team.
Apparently, I need to start picking quarterbacks with back injuries. Apparently,
Apparently.
I need veteran quarterbacks who have bad backs going through the season because then they're going to play arguably the best year of his career. And I'm just happy. They also see a stat that he's now a 500 quarterback. He lost so much in Detroit that
Oh, good for him.
after years with the Rams, he's now 115, 115 and one tie. So he's now
Aw.
officially a 500 quarterback.
Yay.
And then
No, I mean he's been amazing. I mean, as much as people didn't see the emergence of Jackson Smith and Jigba this year, which I think is still crazier, I mean, Matthew Stafford's year has to be up there for one of the top headlines in football this year. He's been amazing.
that's amazing. And even though, and like speaking, I guess, well, technically Taylor's a veteran, but not as old of a veteran as Stafford. Yeah, Taylor is reminding people why he's arguably. No, I'm not even gonna say arguably at this point because CMC's been struggling the past few weeks. He's probably the best running back in football because my goodness, Pittsburgh shut him down last week and he was mad.
He was very mad. Yeah, not only did he have over 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in Germany, he also broke the Colts' single season touchdown record for running backs for rushing touchdowns over Edrin James, which is pretty crazy if you're a historical Colts fan
Oh
because
my,
Edrin James was very good for a very long time.
the Hall of
I
Famer.
know. I mean, it was amazing. Dude, did you see his 83-yard run? He literally was in a pile getting tackled by people, arm tackles. He just ran right through them. I yelled so loud. My husband was also so happy because he was playing me in fantasy this week and he had Jonathan Taylor. I didn't even care. Jonathan Taylor dropped 46 and a half points on me in fantasy this week. I didn't stand a chance anyway. It was fine.
That's a I love that's a funny meme. I keep seeing it. It was like you wake up on
Yes.
Sunday, see Johnson, you're playing Johnson Taylor.
Yep.
I'm going back to sleep.
Pretty much. Yeah, so bad week in fantasy for me, but a great week for a win. I will say the offensive line still did not look good again, which is not great. They look
No.
good in run protection. They're amazing. Pass protection, though, past 2 weeks has been a struggle, so hopefully they can figure that out during the bye. Also, not a great week from Daniel Jones. He was not nearly as bad as he was last week, but he was average. Um, I would still pay him. I would uncomfortably extend him at this point. I would not comfortably do so because I need to see him take over a game, and I am not sure if he is capable of doing that. So that is why I would uncomfortably extend him because he's better than Matt Ryan and Jacoby Brissett and Nick Foles and everyone else I've had to deal with over the last 7 years since Andrew Luck retired. But no, I mean, crazy game. Pierce deserves an extension. I don't know if you saw his touchdown catch in double coverage in the end
Yep.
zone. Great throw by Daniel Jones. All of the New Yorkers, not your brother, but all the New Yorkers were like, Daniel Jones never threw the ball down the field in New York. Yeah, apparently he was just scared in New York. Bro can throw the ball down the field. So I'd say that narrative has died. I just need to see him take over a game, but we'll see if that happens. We have our bye week next week, and then we play the Chiefs. So that'll reveal a lot about Daniel Jones. So we'll see. But I was very happy this weekend. Good job, Jonathan. You did good.
Yep. And with that, we will see you on Thursday. Chelsea hit us with the plugs quickly, and then we'll be out of here.
Hey guys, so thanks for listening. Tune back in for our next episode this upcoming Thursday. Follow us on our social medias. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook on Launch Codes Football or at Launch Codes Football. On Twitter at Launch Codes FB. We are also on Chat BCC. We have a chat room. If you are interested in joining that, please DM us on Instagram or another social and we can send you the link. We will see you on Thursday. I'm Chelsea.
I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week
Peace.
or Thursday.